Hey everyone, this Sunday we have a special congregational meeting in which we'll be voting on the recommendation of the elders to fund 2 capital projects. And because the price tag is pretty big on these projects and so many of you take your responsibility as members very seriously, I wanted to make sure that we had a chance to communicate about this. Many of you came to the Q&A sessions the last 2 weeks, the last 2 Sundays, as well as to the special meeting that we had for our facilities team, as well as our worship and AV teams. But I wanted to take just a quick second to record a little bit of a video to tell you a little bit about these projects for those of you who weren't able to be at those. So at the meeting we talked about our current situation, and our current situation is that we have an operational reserve of about $300,000. Now that operational reserve would mean that if no one gave another dime for the next 18 months, we would be able to operate as a church. But one of the questions that we asked about this is, what is a reasonable operational reserve? Because we are in a season of revitalization and there are a number of things that are calling for our attention to put a little bit of investment towards. And so we have this question about what would be guidelines for a reasonable operational reserve. We feel like it would be wise for us to have some reserve, but at the same time people have given sacrificially and expected some of this money to go towards strategic gospel focused initiatives. And so we wanted to talk a little bit about this idea about what are our guidelines for an operational reserve. And the elders, as we've gone over master planning and we've talked about this philosophically, we've come up with a guideline, not necessarily a policy, but a guideline that a reasonable operational reserve would be 6 months of operational reserve to have on hand as cash. And so what that means is that of a 6-month operational reserve is about $100,000 to have on hand. And so we feel like that's a good cushion in this season. But what it means is that we have other money that is in the bank, essentially, that has been given strategically for ministry initiatives and for investment in our campus and in our community. And so our guidelines, the 6-month operational reserve, does free up some money in our reserves that we've had in reserve that would allow us to fund some capital projects. And we had some philosophical discussions about what our priorities are in this season, and we talked about a lot of different things on this campus, but we have 2 capital projects that we feel are strategic right now for what we're doing that are going to allow us to grow into the future. And those are, one, our sanctuary audio, visual, and lighting project that we've had some consulting on, as well as the purchase of some courtyard furniture as well as umbrellas to go out in our courtyard in this way. So we wanted to talk a little bit about these different projects and just talk through mostly the big ticket items. Sometimes there's a little sticker shock here because we're looking at approving not to exceed $150,000 for our sanctuary revision. And so there are some issues. We have talked with a team called Velocity Pro, and they've put together a little bit of a presentation, and I just wanted to walk through a little bit of that and talk about that with you. So the sanctuary audio and video upgrade is what we're looking at. And the idea behind this is that we want to improve the experience of worship and the delivery of God's Word on a Sunday morning. Sunday, the room that we meet in, every person in the church meets in that room every week. And right now we have some issues regarding our audio, regarding our video, some things that haven't been addressed for probably about 16 years, 17 years. And so we wanted to take a look at that and see what we could do. So we have a couple things that are challenges right now about our sound. We have inconsistent coverage in the sanctuary. We have some stage noise, and we have poor sound on recordings. If you've listened online, our wireless mic has been cutting in and out, and so we wanted to address that. And we wanted to make sure that we would have consistent sound throughout the whole sanctuary. And so we also wanted to focus on, for our volunteers, an ease of use. So this is our current board right now. There's a few knobs on it, if you haven't noticed. What we're looking to do is to try to upgrade to something that is going to provide a little bit more ease of use. And so going to a digital system will provide the same functionality with a board that is this simple, as well as the idea of being able to walk around the sanctuary and adjust the sound levels on an iPad if our sound people need to do that. And so this idea of moving from that to that is one piece that we want to do. That would also include with this, rather than on the stage, right now we have what we call wedge monitors, and they project sound to the sound team or to the worship players, but it also bounces off all the walls. So what we want to do is move to in-ear, something that we don't have an extra sound source on the stage. That will improve our sound as well. And then this is a little bit of a diagram of where the speakers would be. Right now we have speakers hanging down from all over the sanctuary. These would put, in this 3D model, we'd have 3 main speakers up top, and we'd have 2 on the bottom, but they would all be up front. They wouldn't be hanging from the middle of the sanctuary. If you want to look at what this would look like, they would all be up here on the stage. And what it would do is it would create a sound coverage that's uniform. Right now, if we were to look at this, we would have some places that would have kind of a lighter yellowish area, and some that would have a high pink or red. What we're looking for is red all over, a consistent sound coverage. And right now we just don't have that because of the speaker system that we have is aging, but also that we found that it was not actually installed correctly. And so we've been working off of a short-term solution for a long time. So we also wanted to make sure that those among us who had assisted listening needs, that we would take care of that. We have some that you can actually put in your ears, but we also have other units that will connect Bluetooth for those who have Bluetooth enabled hearing aids, where they can simply connect their existing hearing aids into the sound on a Sunday morning. All right. Now our lighting system, we have some issues on right now. Right now we have gym lights, warehouse lights. They take a lot of power. They have some hot spots. They take a long time to warm up. And also the switching on them, actually when we turn those on, we actually turn them on a breaker. And so we've actually found out that that is actually dangerous. Our consultants have informed us that that's not the ideal situation. So what we'd like to do is move to LED lighting from the house lights. That would actually reduce our the amount of electricity that we use. And it would provide uniform lighting throughout the entire sanctuary that is able to dim from top to bottom. So right now, what we're looking at is going to a lighting control where all of our lighting is on one control board. Right now we have to go to 4 different spots to turn lights on right now, but we'd like to move that all to one board and to have a very ease of use on the lower levels. If you wanted to turn it off, you could hit this bottom button. If you wanted to go 20%, 40%, 60%, 80%, 100% lighting, you could do all of that simply with the touch of a button, and it would be uniform throughout the entire sanctuary. So this is what we have right now. We have 3 different kinds of lighting. You can see these can lights in the back. We have the warehouse lights, and we have the emergency lights here and here. What we'd like to do is we would like to move to something like this. So what it would look like up top is uniform lighting. Our sanctuary won't look like this, but the uniform lighting is what we're aiming for. You can also see here, we joke that we're also looking to hire quintuplets to lead our worship, because they're all twins. Anyway, these are what they would look like. They would be these black cans up top, and we would have them all throughout the top as well as underneath the balcony. So you can see kind of a map of where those will be there and underneath. And it would also mean that as we go back, all of this, so all of these speakers and all of these lights would be removed, and we would just have one uniform lighting and taking down some of these distractions throughout. All right, as we move forward through this. There's a couple of other things that we're going to have to do. In order to do this, we have to update our electrical system. And so right now, our lighting and system is controlled by an electrical panel, which is actually, like I said, dangerous and inefficient. The electrical distribution is a little varied. And we have a number of cables and wires that are essentially abandoned, that are not being used right now, that we need to pull out, and we need to put in stuff that is going to work. And so the solution is that we're going to have new electrical panels and new power sequencing, which is going to improve not only our efficiency, but the health of our equipment going forward. So here's some before pictures that we have. This is up above the stage. This is below the stage, and this is in the back room. This is also a picture of what the electrical panel looks like in the backstage right now. This is not great. It's actually fairly dangerous, and so what we're looking to try to do is to get something that looks a little more uniform, that is up to grade, up to code, that's going to be safer for our teams going forward. And so this is what we're voting on. We don't have a presentation about the courtyard furniture. We have some ways we're looking to do that, but we're looking for high-grade outdoor courtyard furniture as well. We don't have pictures to show you, but I just wanted to give you a sense of what we're voting on. If you did have questions, to be sure to contact either myself or any of the elders. The facilities team as well has been on board with this, and we've also run it by our finance team as well. And so Sunday's going to be a great time for us to continue to vote on this, as well as to hear from some of our worship team members about what kind of a difference this might make on a Sunday morning. But a couple of just as we do think about this, and as we think about why this right now. Right now we encounter weekly issues with our sound system, and it makes it very difficult for our worship team to worship alongside of all of us. They lead us, but they also have to kind of work out all the distractions that are around us. That room is the one room where we all meet every week. It also is probably our best foot forward as a church community, and as we have people in and facilities use folks, maybe concerts in the future, things like that. This will be a room that will allow us to invite people to our campus and be part of our community. And so these are just a couple of reasons why this we've seen this as a strategic spot and a strategic place for us to invest. So looking forward to seeing you all on Sunday. I hope this was helpful. If you do have any questions, please feel free to call or email me or any of the elders before Sunday or on Sunday. All right, thank you so much.